didn't think anyone would want to watch an hour-long video of me supporting this Battlesuit A. So I sped it up. Hopefully that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and talk over it here. Here I am just supporting the big rifle in his right hand. I like to, use the little slider to find the islands where I need to support. Um, Also, to fine tune, I've learned that pressing the up down arrow keys really helps to, find those little islands and find the bottom most layer for an island to, start supporting it on. Also, as you can see here, I like to try to save a little resin, and actually, it helps with moving your vision of looking at the model if you consolidate your support stands like I'm doing here. You just got to make sure that, like here, you don't put the supports right into the model itself. You see, this process does take a little time, fine tuning everything, moving everything exactly where you want it, making sure that nothing is being supported, on top of the model. I really can't stand that, when it's anchored right onto the, like the top of the foot or something. You go to try to clean it up, and now you have to clean the top of a foot as well as where it anchored in up above. If you hear some hums and buzzes in the background, that's my Mars and Photon going. Probably the Photon, it is the louder one. This file is actually being test printed right now in my Mars. These are bigger flat areas. Sometimes you just gotta add some supports to make sure it'll come out correctly and doesn't start bending when it starts pulling away from the FEP. Suction can be a real big problem. I really recommend focusing in one area at a time. Like right now, I'm focusing on this one rifle arm pretty heavily, and then I'll move on to some other different part at different times, as you'll see. And please save often. Chi2 box is very buggy and it does like to crash on you. It doesn't crash on me once in this video, which I'm thankful for, and it seems like the update really helped that. But save often, it does crash. I don't think I saved as often as I probably should have. See, here's the also another good key to watch how much weight, um, overall weight, that these supports are going to be holding. Like this right here, this it's holding up the whole back of the model, and it's supporting a big heavy block of resin here. That's why I use those heavy supports there. Use three big heavy supports to hold everything in place, and then the other little ones are just to, help out a little bit, especially on those first couple layers with the big flat areas. Make sure that they don't deform or pull away and start creating these real separation of the layers once it's printing anyway. You can again, consolidate those stands. Here is my second session of recording anyway. I started the first session of this not recording, supporting the feet, and started to support the rifle. So this is my second session of recording. I started working on his left hand, freehand. These hands are always fun to do because of the each individual finger has to be supported. As you saw there, that was a little technique I saw from, I want to say it's the 3D Printing Pro. You can add a support onto a support onto a support, and sometimes eventually you'll get off of the model. And in this case, I wasn't really successful in doing that, and I just ended up doing what I normally do, which is, finding out where my outer edge is, create a support, and then edit it and move it to where I want to. I do a lot of editing, and I'm really glad that Chitubox decided to make some shortcut keys. There's A for add support, the D for delete a support, and then there's E for edit a support. So I constantly have my left hand on floating around those buttons, and my right hand on my mouse, so I can scroll back and forth between edit, add, and then delete here and there when I'm trying to get rid of something. I really don't use delete as half as much as I use edit and add. And a lot of times I'll switch between edit and add just so I can move around and maneuver and get an angle that I like. There are some limitations when you're in the edit function to your ability to maneuver your screen around. So sometimes you have to switch it to the add function, and when you're in the add function, you can maneuver your screen around and get to the angle that you're really trying to get to support something. Yeah, right here I was working on the arm and I saw that big support that needed a big island right there in the middle, right in the crotch that needed to be supported. So I just did it. Normally I try to focus in on just one area, but sometimes you see big glaring things and just want to take care of them. So some of these long, little, thin supports, in the past I would have been really hesitant to do them because they just don't look like they would work well. But thanks to some testing videos from Yesik, from who does the support work for Titanforge, um, he does some excellent work, and he did some test prints showing some really long, thin supports that were very horizontal. He got them to test print fine, and I'm like, wow, if he could do that, I mean, these are like half the length of what he did, and not nearly as horizontal as his tests were. So again, thank you to Yesek for doing those tests, because it really helped out to learn what some of these supports are capable of at the angles that they're at, and what they're supporting. Here I'm just trying to make sure I support every little island. As you'll see at the end, I'll go back to the raw footage of me validating this model, and I can't say enough praise about the validation program that Photon put together. It's a Photon validator. I use that quite often, and as you'll see at the end of this video, to make sure I didn't miss anything. It's very hard. As you can see, there's more and more support structures that get in your way of being able to see where the islands actually are. I did miss a pretty big one, or two pretty big ones, on the right arm, or the inside of the armpit area, as you'll see at the end of the video. And that validator program really helps to find those and to fix those for you, or not to fix them really, so you can fix them. Yeah, I think I declared the bottom freehand done, and now I'm working on the gun hand, the upper gun hand on the left hand side. Yes, save and save often. I don't think I saved enough or as often as I probably should. Right now, I'm just checking the back to make sure I didn't miss anything. Sometimes when you're in the save function and you're already looking at the model, sometimes it's just easier to look at it, without the red, just to see if you see anything different. But the red does really help. That's why I do like this program a lot. So I went here and added some medium supports. I don't like switching between supports. Um, if I can help it, I'll put the heavy ones down, put the medium ones down, and then work only in light. It's just a matter of preference of having to go back and all the way across the screen to where the light, medium, and heavy are. G2 box. I wish you'd change that and put shortcuts there too, uh, so we can switch between those. Maybe like one, two, and three. That would be awesome. Or give us the ability to hotkey some of this, all these functions. They're working on it though. Maybe I should go to their Facebook group and actually suggest it. This gun was a little tricky. There was a lot of little parts at the bottom of the handle, and then I believe it's the clip area where there's a lot of little islands because of the little detail that he has, that the Papsicle has created, designed into this model. Yeah, I was just about to say that one last one looked a little close to that clip, and it kind of would have probably melded onto that clip. So I'm glad I moved it. I've seen that a lot on some of these pre-supported ones where pre-supported files where the support is just right on top of the model or like way too close to the model. So I really do appreciate when the artist or um, the artists give you the Chichi box file, not just the STL, because then you can go ahead and modify and move some of the supports around, um, get a little cleaner. Hopefully, I get a little cleaner print. That's the whole goal of doing some of the work that I do is to get a nice clean print. The orientation here, I like to use 3D Printing Pro Greg's advice of print supporting from the bottom. When people look at a model on a table, usually they're looking at it from a higher level, and and then there's also like the feet are going to be on a base, and so filing them down and having supports that they're on the bottom sides of models are really that where no one's going to really see is not a problem, and it's like I think the best way to support a model. Now sometimes that's not feasible because of the model and the amount of support you'd have to put in to support a model when you can just flip it around and put it on its back, and then it supports itself half the time. So there's a trade-off on some of that, but for the most part I do like to support here from this orientation. Just tilt it a little bit and support it from the bottom as much as possible. advice for anyone that's having trouble removing supports from any model and from any settings usually. If you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, I highly recommend getting a good one and using that. They work wonders. Just don't overheat them. I did overheat my first two busts that I put in there. I just put it way too hot and it ended up cracking the models. But now I've dialed it in. I did some research and figured out exactly where it wants it, which is pretty much the same temperature as it wants to print at. Um, but anyway, it does help when you have that warm bath that you're cleaning it in, whether you're using IPA or whether you're using simple green, mean green, which is what I use, mean green. Having that warm bath in the ultrasonic cleaner, one, it cleans it much better, and two, it helps you to remove the supports. Get it nice and warm. Once it's nice and warm, usually these supports, my supports especially, will it should peel right off. Sometimes the heavy ones will need to be snipped. Sometimes on the feet, but lately, especially since I've gotten a really nice ultrasonic cleaner, I haven't had an issue with it. They've been pulling off pretty easily. Some of the other pre-supported files that I've printed have worked wonders to having this new ultrasonic cleaner. So get a good one. I used a cheap one for a few months and it was a pain, and I spent a lot of time cleaning and figuring out ways to make sure my prints were clean, and now I just use my good ultrasonic cleaner and I just put it in there and forget it. Getting close to finishing this here. I think I'm just finishing the barrel and then I'm going to go into the validation. These little nubs were kind of a pain here on each side of the barrel. Little floating discs. Almost done. Oh no, 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 yeah, I needed a. I saw this right away too. I knew that the angle was probably creating an island here, which is funny. I missed a spot in that same armpit that I should have found doing this here, but I guess I was just a few layers off. Those are probably not going to do much there, but it's just more of paranoia. It's better to have extra than not have enough. Especially these light ones that don't really cause any kind of issues and they pull off so nice. Alright, saved it. Here's part of validating it. You're going to have to slice it and slice it at the settings that you would print it at. While that's saving, I'm going to open up my validator. Both these processes take a minute. There we go. File validator. Put it here for right now. Gotta wait for it to finish. Actually, we can watch it finish on this end. It's right where I want to be. These are all the files that I have tested recently. Right here, naming is not important. I'm just testing to make sure that there's no islands that I missed, as you'll see here in a moment, and you'll see why this is an important step in this process. All right, cool. It's done. Battlesuit. Open it up. It's not a super complicated build, so hopefully it won't take too long. Only 2,000 layers. Not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and fix these. 94. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to do this real quick. This is my process. I learned this process from someone else, and once I start learning the process and it works for me, I just kind of stick with it. I'm going to go ahead and let it fix the errors. Alright, I save it. Okay, reload that file. It just had added the 1 to it. This gets rid of all the errors it couldn't, or it only leaves the errors it couldn't fix. It tells me what our real problems are. They're not looking through. This is not that important when there was only 90 islands, but when there's hundreds or thousands of islands, these are a little bit big. Alright, let's go and look at some of these here. Starting at 1257. Layer 1257. There it is. Whoa, where is it? It's something above 1257. I don't know what it's complaining about. This might be one of those weird ones. I'm not sure what it's complaining about. So the next big one, this 25 is not that big deal. Let's look at 1418. There we go. That's one of the arms, huh? 1418. Normally I do this with 2 screens, but because I am doing a video, I will only use 1 screen. There it is. Right there. Okay. So let's go fix this. This is why we do this. Supporting. Let's go this way. Yep. Add one here. And then that one's fixed. Let's go to the next one. This is the biggest one I saw here. 1427. Oh. Oh. Oops. 1427. There's only a couple more up here. 1427. There it is. Let's add on there. There we go. I should take care of those. Now here's the funny part. It added weird things and stuff, so you have to go back, and it's in a different folder. There's one thing that Chitubox needs to get better at. Support. Let's get rid of all this crap. And change it from an STL file to a project. And replace my old file, yes. Now I think that was all of them. This one. The validator. Yeah, these other ones I'm not worried about. Let's just show you one Here, it's a little spot here. 1591. Let's just look at it. It's probably not going to matter, but I might be able to put something there and fix it. But where did it say it was? It's on the right hand or left hand. It's on this one. There. See, I kind of missed. No, I got that spot. What was it complaining about? Yeah, I'm not sure what it's complaining about. I got it. Maybe it thinks I didn't get it because this little edge here. I don't know. Let's look at the next one. What does it say? This little spot over here. Again, see, this is not going to matter. Cool. So I'm going to declare that done. I already saved it. Now I can print it.